see Mario. All right, if you're watching this, man, we're gonna be interviewing Mario West here shortly. Hey, if you want to comment and if you want your comments, you want me to put them up on the screen. You got to watch it on my Facebook page, The Creative Athlete, just like you see in the top right corner. Or you can go on YouTube and do the same thing. And if you comment, if you're somebody watching and you want to ask Mario a question here, once he signs in, you can ask it and I'll put it up on the screen. Yeah, Mario should be on shortly. So a little bit of background on Mario. Mario is headed to the office now to get on. So yeah, Mario played at Georgia Tech with me. If you guys saw my last interview, I interviewed Anthony Morrow, also played at Georgia Tech with me. But I'm interviewing athletes, man, just talking to them about how they transition, how they chose their sport. And I'm hoping that this can help current athletes, former athletes, whatever it is, on how do you tap into your creativity while you're in your sport, or when it's time to transition away when you're ready to retire. So it should be pretty good, man. Mario's played in the NBA for a few years, and now he has a job with the NBA. So we got some dope questions for Mario. Once again, if you're on here, go to my Facebook page, The Creative Athlete, or go to my YouTube, The Creative Athlete. And if you comment, I can add your comments to the screen if you want to ask Mario a question. Tap in, you guys. If you're on here, go subscribe to my YouTube page, The Creative Athlete. Go follow the Facebook page, The Creative Athlete. Going to be interviewing Mario West here in a second. Oh, here he is.
What's up, Blue?
What's good, bro? How you feeling, man?
Man, I can't complain. You all right?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Just so you know, we live on Facebook and YouTube. So, yeah, man. So, how you feeling? You doing all right?
Blessed, man. Blessed.
Let's good. Yeah. So, I was just kind of giving. We got a few people on here right now, but I was just giving people a little bit of background, just telling them how you played at Tech with me, and obviously the short ending of it, you ended up making it to the NBA, man. So, born and raised in Douglasville, Georgia.
No, born in Huntsville, Alabama.
Born in Huntsville, Alabama. Okay, and then how?
Raised in Douglasville. I moved to Douglasville when I was 9. So
Okay, and do you have many memories from Alabama? We never really talked about that.
yeah, man, I got a lot of man. All my family lives there, man. So that's where the defender. A lot of people don't know this, man, but being known as a defensive stopper.
All right.
With my older cousin Chris, and shout out to my uncle Tyrone. You better call Tyrone. Call. Growing up, man, I had so many fun memories of playing. I started playing at the Boys and Girls Club, so I have so many memories. All of my family, like I said, on my mom and my dad's side, pretty much that's where I grew up, man. Those are my roots.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, that's what's up, man. And then when you came to Atlanta, had you already dove into sports yet, or were you still kind of trying to figure it out on the athletic side?
No, no, man. So soon as I would say, I think I moved to Douglasville, Georgia in fourth grade. I was
Uh-huh.
9.
Right.
So it was like fall. That was like the first thing that my dad like did. He put me in like sports. You know what I
Right.
mean? So just knowing that transition, anytime you move, like you know, new friends, new school, new environment. So the
Right.
first thing that he put me in was sports at the recreational at Deer Lick Park in Douglasville, Georgia. I got
Hmm.
involved in basketball because you know in fourth and fifth grade, you know, you got to wait until you get into middle school. Even
Right.
sixth grade, you can't play on you know, until you get to seventh grade. So that's what I did, man. So I just
Right.
carried over. So it's funny. A quick story is that I was not, I was good and I had
Uh-huh.
athleticism, you know what I'm saying? But once I got to Douglasville, it's like everything that I learned from playing against my older cousin and uncle, playing against that older crowd, it really helped me transcend into a better player once I got to Douglasville. Because then I was actually playing like with my grade, you know what I mean?
Right.
I was
Right. For sure.
out. Yeah.
Right. And you never tapped into any other sports. It was just always basketball.
No, man, I played football too. I
Uh-huh.
tried baseball, but man, I couldn't hit the ball. Man, I just wasn't. I was athletic on the baseball field, but that just wasn't naturally like inclined with my gifts. But my other gifts that I really should explore more were football. So I played
Football.
football all the way into my freshman year. But I mean, got to shout out you. You were a two-way sport. I mean, that I know of. I know you play football, man.
Yeah, I
And
played. Yeah, I played basketball, football, and baseball. Baseball, I stopped after my freshman year because I kind of started getting into travel basketball, and then football, I stopped after my sophomore year. I enjoyed football. It was just as it got closer to basketball season, I was kind of like getting anxious to play basketball. But
yeah,
I enjoyed it, and I think I was pretty solid at it. But I think it was nothing that I really worked hard at. I love the game, and I love basketball. So I ended up
I,
just
I
kind of
definitely understand. So naturally, my aggression. I mean, you know me being aggressive
right for sure.
on the basketball field. Everyone tell me, like, man, you should play football, man. But and I'm sure you got this too as well. I played only my freshman year, and then I was thinking about going back out. I think my senior year, or maybe
Mhm.
my junior year. I was like, you know what? I want to play football. I really want to tap into. You know, you want to be with your boys, you want to be with your friends, and it's like, you know what, man? Like, why not? I can do both.
Right.
But my coach, I remember driving to my home because after school they had
Mhm.
a meeting for everyone that's going to try out for football, and I was there. And so
Mhm.
it kind of like had this buzz going around school, like, oh man, Mario's going to play football this year. My
Mhm.
coach found out and literally drove to my house that same evening, like, nah, man, I can't let you do that. And he
Right.
talked out of it, man. So, but hey, it worked out, you know. So
Right. So what made basketball become number one? Like how did that end up just saying like this is my main sport? Like and then just in reflection of my story, once I didn't start playing travel until that summer of going to ninth grade. And I drew a little bit of attention for myself, but I was already kind of playing football, and then that next year it kind of really the cap really came off. And it was kind of like, do I want to play? I mean, I'm the backup quarterback, and I get reps at receiver. But you know what I mean? I didn't feel like I was getting the ball enough for me to be like, oh well, I should just keep playing also. So I think that was kind of part of it. If I would have felt like I was more involved, I probably would have continued to play. But um, back to you, like how did it become where it was like basketball was just going to be number one for you?
yeah, I mean that's a great question. I mean, honestly, basketball was really always number one, even though I
Mhm.
flirted, you know what I'm saying, with the idea of football because I just really love to play football and
Right,
just very, very competitive. So I would just say, just from my upbringing, like basketball on my mom's side is just something that all of my uncles did, all of my aunties, like that's just like tradition. It's really I come from a sport field family. You know what I'm saying? On
right,
my side was more predominantly football, but
uh-huh.
on my mom's side I had cousins and things of that nature that were close to my age, and then I
Mhm.
have an uncle in particular who was like my greatest inspiration in terms of playing basketball. And so in high school he played varsity. I don't know if this was big for you, but it was like it meant something to make the varsity team as a freshman because I know
Absolutely,
my uncle
absolutely.
did, and I know that's what one of my cousins who used to beat up on me. That's what he did. So
Right, right, right,
that was like my barometer. That was my
right,
measuring stick to see. Okay, look, man, are you really like that? You know what I'm saying? Because everyone in the family got praised for their basketball skills, and
right.
so last name is Pride, but I was a West, and I also
Uh-huh.
be recognized. Like I love being in the West, but I also wanted to be recognized for my basketball talent as a pride. So that measuring stick was like, look, man, I got to make varsity as a freshman. So, because I want people to know, like, look, man, I'm a pride too. And that same blood that goes through their veins goes through mine too as well. So it was like basketball, to answer your question, like it was like always number one. I had to do it.
So that's dope. And I think for anybody watching, whether you're a young athlete or an older athlete, that's a mindset. Like how did you unlock that because that has, you're talking 14. That's maturity to be kind of going into a mindset like I gotta make varsity, or it would be great to make varsity my freshman year to kind of keep that family tradition going. How does that, I guess, even represent how you got to where you are? We'll talk about it down the line, but like, is that mindset something that was just, you think you were born with, or did somebody plant that into you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think honestly, man, I was just born with it. I just refused to say no. And it's funny because during my freshman year, I didn't even play in one freshman game. So we
Right.
had tryouts, and I remember the varsity coach saw me. We did a scrimmage
Mm.
and against the freshman team. Now I'm not trying to brag by any means, or what I'm saying, fabricated. So I had 40 in a scrimmage game against like the blue and white team freshman year,
Right.
and varsity coach was there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when he hosted tryouts and he called us like in the huddle. Like, mind you, I don't even know him. Shout out Coach Boyd Stoner. We can talk about him. That's my guy.
Right.
But I remember him like kind of like singling me out and getting on to me about something like eye contact or something like that. Like his trial as a varsity head coach, I'm nervous. I didn't look him in the eye or something like that while he was speaking. So he got on to me. So I'm thinking like, man, he's not a very nice guy.
Right.
Then maybe a month and a half later, we have before the freshman season starting to kick off, we had an inter squad game, and I had 40. And then he was like, you know what? I'm calling him up. I played in one JV game, and then I played varsity, and I came off the bench. And then I actually started one game during the Christmas tournament. But I would say this in terms of the mindset. To that whole point, it didn't look like I was going to play varsity as a freshman. And this is like a quote, but also like my mentality. I might be delayed, but I won't be denied. And so during that year, like I said, I started off, playing the game on JV because he wanted to give me more reps and more time. And then after seeing what I did on the JV, he was like, no, man, I really need you on varsity. Then I starting as a freshman halfway through the season. So I think that's just what I try to instill, and what I've always had in myself. I might be delayed, but I won't be denied. And that's just I carry with me to this day.
Right. That makes sense, man. And that makes sense. So kind of transitioning into just focusing on high school, how was your mix of like high school experience, and you can kind of blend in the story with travel? Like, how was your transition from freshman year? Obviously you got some varsity experience, and then what was travel ball like for you between your freshman and senior year?
Man, ironically, man, I didn't do any travel ball. So people ask me all the time, like, who did you play AAU with, and all the things of that nature, man. I was really a diamond in the rough, and I say that because I felt like I had the skill set, but so many people didn't know about me, in Douglasville at the time, and so it was like I just kind of was like I flew under the radar, but I was fine with that. You know what I mean? It had its challenges because obviously you want to get the recognition and you want to be seen. And so limited exposure, you know what I'm saying, limit me in some ways. But like, again, just like what I just said, I might be delayed, but I won't be denied. Work out. And I believe, man, if you just put in the work, things are going to line. It's not always going to happen exactly how you planned it.
Right.
Me, it didn't happen like, boom, freshman year, boom, straight to varsity. It didn't happen that way. You know what I'm saying? I had to work and I had to be patient. That is the thing that I think that's missing in our generation is the patience, the poise. You know what I'm saying? And can you consistently do something over and over the correct way and knowing, what is going to pay off? And so for me, during my freshman year, man, it was a lot of grind. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't play a whole lot. But when I got the opportunity to play, I made the most of that opportunity. It's something that's, like I said, I've always hung my hat on. Just, hey, whether it's 2 minutes, make that seem like, 10 minutes. If it's 10 minutes, make it seem like 20, and just outworking everybody. And that's honestly how I got to start those games. I didn't do anything. I didn't have the skill set as a freshman. You know what I'm saying? Only not strong enough or anything like that. But what I did, I had this right here already at 15, and that trumped everything. So.
Right. So in high school, what were your strengths as you, let's say your junior, senior year? What were you doing on the court that made you stood out? Now I know if people are familiar with Mario West, you guys know that he is an excellent defender. He brings high energy to any team that he's on. But from a high school standpoint, what were you doing to draw attention to yourself?
I had athleticism, man. That's one
Uh,
thing that I would, say that stood out. A lot of people don't know because, you see, the college version of Mario, then also ultimately what got me into the league. But I was a scorer. I was a scorer and a facilitator. So
right.
I was, 6'2.5", you know what I'm
Mm,
saying, during my junior year and senior year. And so
right.
I really was like a point forward.
Mm,
So I sometimes would run point. I would bring the ball up. So the way that my high school coach, his offense, phenomenal, by the way, it really suited my skill set because he wanted to score. He wanted to outscore you. It
right.
wasn't defense on his
Right.
end. He
That's
really
not,
wanted.
hey, I like that system. I like it.
It was like the Suns. It was like, hey,
Right.
I want to score in 7 seconds or left, uh,
Right.
7 seconds or less, and then we
Uh,
had positions on the floor. So the two guard would run on the right wing to the three
uh,
point line in the corner. The three would run on the left wing to the corner. The four would run to the block, and then the 5 and 1 would be parallel up at the top of the key. So the 5 would kind of be the outlet, or the 5 would be down at the post. But I would bring the ball. I was like a point forward. And so my
uh,
skill set was being able to handle the ball, and then I
right.
was able to get to the rack. That
Right.
was my skill set by far. Like no one could stop me. I didn't care who you were. You could not stop me from doing it. Outside shot, no. I
Right.
take a lot of outside, jumpers, anything like that. I actually would foul out games because I was so aggressive going to the cup.
The
That
basket.
I
You
would
get
get charges. People would just
right.
stand in front of him,
Right.
take a charge. He's gonna run you over. So
Right. But I bet you caught some bodies too, though.
yeah, I definitely for sure did that. For sure did.
Right.
Absolutely.
So as we transition your senior year, how does what college offers did you have coming out, and kind of get us into how did this Georgia Tech thing come about for you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So I will have to back up again because the whole barometer measuring stick. So my uncle Howard, who was like my biggest inspiration, from a basketball standpoint, that's who I wanted to be just like. Mr. Basketball in the state of Alabama, had scholarships. I mean, he had D1 offers pretty much to any school,
Right.
that he wanted. And he selected Vanderbilt University. And
Uh-huh.
so it was like he went to a big time school in the SEC. And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to a big time school. And my number one choice was Georgia Tech. So
Right.
ironically, at the time during my senior year, I didn't have a lot of offers. I had, some smaller offers. One offer or one school that showed interest was
Mhm.
Auburn.
Mhm.
Sly was at Auburn,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and he was trying to get me to come there, man. But the head coach, for whatever reason, man, just he didn't want to pull the trigger. So it was pretty much out of CY's hand. And I
Right.
remember letters and them coming down to see me to play and everything like that. And I was like, man, you felt good because it's like, man, okay, D1, Auburn, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, you know what? I can see myself there. And then
Right.
I had Clemson. We actually did some team camps at Clemson, and at the time, I remember watching Shout out Will Solomon. I remember watching him work out. Who played in the league? I know he played with Toronto and played a number of years. Man, could really, really
Right.
shoot the
Right.
ball, could score the ball, and
Uh-huh.
watching him. And I thought, man, because I had a really impressive showing while at the team camp at Clemson. But they sent me letters, and those first letters, man, I used to fill my shoebox and everything like that. But basically, make a long story short, during my senior year,
Uh-huh.
Coach Hewitt at the time was recruiting a guy by the name of Josh Smith, who we both know, whom I would later play with the Hawks. Josh was a sophomore at McEachern at the time.
Right.
Morris Allman, I think, was either a sophomore. I think Morris Allman might have been a junior at the time.
Mhm.
I had no idea that Coach Hewitt was in the stands. We playing at McEachern on the road. And I remember,
Right.
I think Josh Smith at the time, he was 6'5". He was probably like 6'6", maybe 6'7", you know what I'm saying, at the time. But I remember his athleticism was crazy. Long arms. I remember he's looking at his calf. I was like, man, look at how big his calf. He
Yeah,
was just
he's a freak. Yeah.
toe to toe. Mind you, I'm 6'2.5". He's got me by at least 4 or 5 inches, and we go toe to toe. I had like 32 points that game. He had 20.
Right.
We won. I remember Josh blocked one of my dunks. I
Uh-huh.
blocked one of his. I steal the
Uh-huh.
ball. I dunk. Like I really put on the show.
Right.
But afterwards, Coach Hewitt was so impressed because he's like, here, I came to see this guy, Josh Smith, but who is this kid on Douglas County that I
right.
never heard before. And so
So wait, let's pause the story now. I want you to continue. But so you're basically saying Coach Hewitt was in the stands to see another player,
Mhm.
and due to your performance and how you show up to an opportunity you didn't know you were going to have, and you do your thing, it sounds like you gained an opportunity out of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely, for sure. Because you know what, man, and I tell, especially when I'm speaking to the youth in particular, like you never know who's watching you. You
right,
know what
for
I'm saying?
sure.
So anytime you get to play, especially when it comes to sports, you know what I'm saying? Anytime you get to play the game itself, or even when you're out in the community, you can be at the mall or whatever, just making sure that you're conducting yourself. That first impression is that's sometimes all you got. And that was an opportunity, a window of opportunity that I had no idea. Had I known Coach Hewitt was in the stand, maybe
Right,
I'm tentative, maybe I'm in my head, maybe I do, some things that are not, normal or out of my character. But like I said, I had no idea. But that's what I try to pride myself on every single game. Just go out there and just put your best foot forward. And I feel like good things will happen. And fortunate enough for me, that was a really, really good game. And the man himself, killer, Coach Hewitt, was in the stands. So,
right.
and that
So
started.
so from there, did he? How did that conversation go I guess whenever the live period, recruiting changes so much, but when you guys did get to speak, what was his presentation like to you? What did he think?
So he reached out to my head coach, Coach Boyd Stone, and he, started doing some little due diligence and whatnot. He was like, the kid Mario West, I like him. Who's, the first question that he asked, my coach was like, what schools are offering him? And Coach Boystone was like, not many. And he was like,
Hmm.
man, we don't have a scholarship available, man, but how are his grades? That was like the second thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, maybe he could walk on, maybe there's a situation, if he's interested, in exploring that opportunity. And for me, I remember watching Georgia Tech. They played, I think this was 2001, and they
Hmm.
played in the Dome. And I remember Sean Fine shooting a jump shot. And I remember, watching Tony Akins and everything like that. So I knew who Coach Hewitt was. And honestly, I went to school with Kasha Terry. Kasha Terry,
Okay.
legend. Kasha Terry had
Yeah.
already earned a scholarship at Georgia Tech.
Got you.
So,
Right.
during this time, what I'm saying, I'm feeling a lot of pressure because it's like, one of those things was like, man, he is one of my childhood friends that I've been knowing since like middle school, what I'm saying, like, which I'm happy for it. She's doing her thing. It's like, man, she already know where she's going. I'm like, man, it'll be so dope, man, if I have the opportunity to attend Georgia Tech, because my whole thing was like, I want to go to a big time school, as I
Right.
mentioned, my uncle did, but I also didn't want to go so far away from home, but I didn't want to be at home. And I felt like
Right.
Tech, from an academic standpoint, and then also from a location standpoint, was going to give me the best of both worlds. And then it just so happened that, it was an African American head coach too. And I was like, man, that would be really, really dope, and Georgia
Right.
Tech on the rise. And so,
And
for me,
yeah, it's though that was kind of for me. It was similar. Like as far as my decision, um, I think I narrowed it down to Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, and Duke. And I think part of my decision was obviously location for my mom. It was like a 2.5 hour ride straight up 75. And obviously we're playing in the ACC, so we're playing a lot of high level schools. And then obviously too, you guys are coming off of the national championship run versus UConn. So um and yeah, and Atlanta was, coming on the visit, and Atlanta was just such a beautiful city. I enjoyed you guys, man. But yeah, so okay, so we get interest in Georgia Tech. They don't have any more offers. So basically you're gonna have to come in as a preferred, what you consider a preferred walk on.
yeah, prefer walk on. So Coach Keener used to come to watch my games. And
Right.
I remember one game he came to, man, I didn't play particularly well. I didn't, I think I had like 20 points, but I was missing a lot of shots. I think that was one of the games that I fouled out. And so, to my understanding, it's like they were really, really interested. They said they didn't have a scholarship, but I felt like they did. But you know how they hold off one to see, hey, if a better player is going to come available. So the only legit scholarship offer that I had was my
Uh-huh.
uncle that I told you about, who I was just inspired by, Howard Pratt. He was an assistant coach at Tennessee State. I
Uh-huh.
went on two visits. I did an official visit to Tennessee State and then an unofficial visit to Georgia Tech. I went to Tennessee State, man, and just let me just, because I know people lie, man, but shout out to HBCUs, man. A
Right.
17-year-old kid up at Tennessee State and just seeing that atmosphere.
Yeah.
No, man, I ain't gonna focus, man. I ain't gonna do right, man. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I had
It
an
was a beautiful. Yeah, I heard it's a vibe. I mean, we played them. Remember?
yep,
I think you were still on the team. Yeah, we played
yeah,
up there. It was a vibe. I enjoyed it.
man,
I
beautiful.
enjoyed it.
And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I wish I still like, obviously everything worked out in Georgia Tech, had an unbelievable experience, man. But just now you're seeing all the recognition with HBCUs and stuff like that. Shout out Tennessee State, man, because at the
Yeah.
time being on the campus, you don't know the history. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you're just oblivious to like really what the opportunity that you have. And I really wish that I would have knew more. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
I'm gonna be honest, if I was educated more, like FAMU offered me very early. Like they may have been one of my top 5 offers end of my freshman year, sophomore year, but that's close. I mean, that's 2 hours from the house too, because I'm South Georgia. So, you look back, shout out to Willie Powers, man. I'm gonna get him on the show too. He's an assistant down there. That's one of CY guys. He went to Georgia Southern. He's an assistant at FAMU now. But yeah, man, I would have loved, but I don't know. Then again, because man, they all they have
A
a
lot.
lot of
The whole
yeah. It would have been a lot. It would have been a lot.
but
But I enjoyed my experience at Tech, man. So now, Mario, you know that you're a D1 athlete. You know that you have offers on the table, and you got other schools that like you got Auburn, which is a great school building program or whatever it is. I know you had the CY situation, but knowing that you're going to go to Georgia Tech, does this bother you mentally? Like not having an official offer, or you feel like they could? Does this mess with your ego, or what does it do as you're on your way to once you decide, hey, I'm going to go ahead and be a preferred walk-on? But mentally, where are you knowing that you really should have a scholarship?
yeah, I think for me, it humility, is the first thing that comes to mind. It's like,
Right.
man, you were the player of the year in the county,
Mm-hmm.
or in Douglas County, player of the year. I was selected to. I'm sure you were selected to this as well. The Atlanta like tip off club.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, you remember Alexander Johnson? I think was ranked like #1. He was like ranked
Absolutely.
player.
Darty County, yeah.
Yeah,
We played, yeah,
State, man, was a beast.
for
I
sure.
was ranked top 5 as a senior in the state of Georgia, and
Wow.
here I am, don't have a
Okay.
scholarship. So for me, it was humbling. But I would say mentally, did it hurt me? Yes. And the reason being, this is why it really hurt me the most, because I felt like I let my dad down. My dad is, probably my toughest critic,
Mm-hmm.
and also one of my biggest supporters. And for me, I wanted to have this scholarship so that number one, my parents didn't have to pay, but also like I wanted my dad to, what I'm saying, I just felt like, and it was in my own head, but my dad was going to be proud of me regardless. But I want him to, kind of, be like, man, my son got a scholarship to go to such and such. You know what I'm saying?
Right, for
So
sure.
me walking on, I knew that financially we didn't have the money, but you
Uh-huh.
know how parents are. And I remember having this conversation with my dad, and he looked me in the eye, man, and this is probably one of the greatest satisfactions that any man could do for his child, or let alone, man. It's like one thing for a man to speak life into you, and for you
Right,
to know, like, look, man, he got me. You know what I'm saying?
right,
My
right.
dad, man,
Absolutely.
you want to go to Georgia Tech? Look, don't you worry about no money. Don't you worry about nothing. You go to Georgia
Wow,
Tech. Because at that
wow,
time, I was about to accept the offer to Tennessee State because it was a full ride.
for
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? And so then here my dad come in and is like, no, man, like, look, don't you worry about nothing. Like, you do what you want to do. This is your
Right,
team, you know what I'm saying? And I got you. And for
right.
him to have that vote of confidence, man, it meant everything. So that's really why I went, so hard at Georgia Tech. I was like, look, man, I got my family on my back. You know what I'm saying? They believe in me. My dad and gave me this vote of confidence, man. He spoke life into me, man. That just meant everything.
Man, that's dope. And it's dope for me even hearing this for you guys watching. I mean, I've known Mario for several years, and I didn't know that part of your story. That's dope to hear that. And it just shows, the strength of your father, your family, huddling around you and encouraging you to take that stride to follow your goals. And as we know, defend the dream. We'll get to it here in a second. But
Yeah, it is.
um, I mean, that's a dope background, and I think it makes me understand you even more as a man and as an athlete on why you played with so much tenacity. I remember being on the visit, and I played pretty well on the visit when I came up, and I think my team beat your team, and you were so bothered. You sat like everybody else sat around. They was kind of talking to me, asking me questions. Um, and you sat all the way down the other end. I was like, "What's up with him?" They was like, "Oh no, that's Rio. He don't like losing." And I think I may have scored like 2 baskets. The next game, you was picking me up full, denying me the ball. I was like, "What the hell, Rio? Come on, bro. We on a visit."
I didn't get the memo. You know, it was because you know we on a Saturday. First of all,
Right,
you know, you want your Saturday, but here we are. It's like, man, we got to play because the recruiting time and everything like that. And so I
right.
had no idea. Like, obviously, I knew that you've been recruited by, you know, Tech. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you
Mm-hmm.
can play, but I didn't know that you could shoot. I didn't know that you have athleticism. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, you know, I'm a, you know, upperclassman, one of those guys, especially on the defensive end. You
For
know, here
sure.
you come in and I'm playing D and you getting buckets on me. So that was
Right.
really the you know what I'm saying, really why I was upset. I was really upset at myself. Like, dang, it wasn't like a year of no, you know what I'm saying, you coming to take a spot or anything like that. But it was just a competition, you know, point. It was like, well, man, like you can't stop him. Like, how you expect to reach your end goal of making it to the next level? You know what I'm saying? Here, a guy that's still in high school,
Right.
and here he is. You know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those things, man. Got to shout out to you, man. I remember you being so bouncy that day, and I remember you
I
doing one of
dunked on Rashawn too.
when you touched the backboard,
Oh,
and
the
then
reverse 360.
60.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow. And then that was the first time that I found out that you was like, you know, playing football too as well. But I saw that, you know what I'm saying? I saw
Right.
the athleticism and everything like that, man. So you put on the show, but you ain't get me after that. That's one time
Nah,
that
that was it. That was it. After that, you made sure. Yeah, you made sure. But that opened me, that helped me a lot. Like I kind of, obviously yourself, and I shout out to my guy Reggie Dupree. He's a player in Iceland. He's also from Alabama. Strange. I don't know if that's some
okay.
country, but he's a player who's a great defender who I would probably say gives me my most challenges um as a scorer. But most of the time when I face or when I've faced defenders, I always like I'm like my ceiling is like he played good defense, but he ain't like my guy Mario. You can ask anybody like in any country that I played in or G League is just, and obviously we played a little bit together in the G League as well. But yeah, man, that you were kind of the ceiling for defensive stopper, like a person who looked like they enjoyed playing defense. It was just strange, because you know how it is. Like, and I always tell people, you look at any team in the NBA, you look at any team collegiately. Um, most teams have 1 to 2 guys that you can say, "Oh, we're gonna put him on the best player every game." You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, but other outside of that, you may have teams that don't even have that one guy. So to be a good defender is a mindset, and it's something that you obviously have always had, man. So kind of transitioning, Mario, your career at Georgia Tech, you play with some great players. We talk about Will Bynum, BJ Elder, you know, uh, Anthony Morrow. You got to kind of be mentors of Thaddeus Young and Javaris Crittenden, and just to name a few. To go from being, as we see, walk on to captain, how does that? How do you manage to do that? To go from being somebody who they kind of thought they may have wanted to give an opportunity to somebody to say, "Hey, Mario, we need you to lead our group."
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's something, man. Honestly, I would say that when I reflect on the things that I accomplished, and I don't think things happen by chance, that God will put you in a position. Well, first of all, God has already equipped you with everything that you need. It's up to you to embrace, what He's giving you, and then to move forward. You know what I'm saying, and not doubt it. And so for
Right,
me, coming in as a walk on, and also got to give a shout out to Coach Hewitt, man, because I know he gave me an opportunity, you know what I'm saying? And with that opportunity, man, I was able to do some things that a lot of people, didn't think that I could do. And at times I even questioned myself if I could do. You know,
right,
coming in as a walk-on, he treated me all the same. You know what I'm saying? Because those walk-ons, we did individuals, we went to class, we practiced and everything like that. And for me, I always compare this to Rudy, to the movie Rudy, which is one of my
right,
football. I consider myself a modern day Rudy. You know how
right,
he under the skin of the guys that won scholarship. It's like,
right,
look, I'm putting out all this effort. You ain't gonna never get a scholarship. You know what I'm saying? But his whole mindset was like, look, I might be delayed, but I won't be denied. So when he
right,
would look, you know what I'm saying, afterwards and look to see if his name is on the starting roster, He would be discouraged, but he never quit. That
Right.
was my mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, yes, I'm gonna walk on. I don't know when I'm gonna earn a scholarship or even if, but you know what? That's not in my control. What's in my control is look that I show up every single day and that I put my best foot forward. And so halfway through the season, Coach would stop practice and he was like, "Look, I bow down. Don't hurt anybody. You will receive a scholarship next year." I was literally crying on the inside.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because I
Right,
was
right.
whatever, you know what I'm saying? You like, look, he gonna cry in the car. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
I had to keep my composure together. You know what I mean? And so for me, going from there, it's like, okay, look, I'm on scholarship. And see, this is what also happens sometimes. It's like we work hard for something and we're given that opportunity or we're given it and then we relax. So my
Right.
mind was like, look, man, now I'm on scholarship. I was like, look, now I can't relax.
Mm.
So I didn't necessarily aim to be a captain. It's just something that again, you work hard and you do things and then opportunities open up and then I just embraced it.
Right.
For me being a captain, man, it meant a lot, because all the sweat and tears that I put in, obviously, you know what I'm saying? I was the oldest guy and the last member because Theo had left.
Right.
I was the last member of the Final Four, team, along with one of my close friends, Dirty. You remember Keith?
Yeah, yeah, Keith. Shout out to Keith, man. Yeah.
So, something that I embraced, and I felt like, man, it was a duty of mine to make sure that, hey, I'm about to leave the program. I'm
Mm.
a captain. I need to make sure that I show the guys the right way and lead the right way because the guys before me that you mentioned, BJ, Jared, Chris Bosh, Ishmael, Luke, Marvin Williams, Robert Brooks, Marvin Lewis,
Right.
Big Nelson, Big Dave. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Guys, you know what I'm saying? Really, I was able to take something away from them. And
Mm.
then I was able to incorporate that into my skill set on the court and then off the court in terms of leadership style. And that's why I was able to have the type of success that I was able to have because of those guys. You know what I'm saying? So they was instrumental. They did what they were supposed to do and led the right way. So it was a duty of mine to make sure that I pour back into, what I'm saying, the incoming, freshmen and, the lower classes and stuff like that.
Makes sense. Makes sense, man. Much love, and just to give you your flowers too, man. You definitely helped me a lot mentally. Um, anytime if I got into a mental slump, I remember several times you reminded me of who I was, and you know how it is with because for anybody that out there watching who there's highs and lows, because there's so much going on behind the scene that people don't see. They just expect us to, obviously we're doing taking care of academics, and you got to practice. Practice is tough sometimes, and then if we're losing in a season, it could be difficult, because
Right.
everybody's trying to figure it out from the coaching staff to the players. We're trying to figure out how to connect and get through it, and um I just remember a lot of times helping me, like reminded me, like, keep shooting, Luke, stay with it. If I was off or when I was on, you reminded me to, stay aggressive and stuff like that, man. So I definitely appreciate it, bro, for sure.
No, absolutely, man. And thing that games or the little stretch that always sticks out in my mind with you is I think you was averaging about we ain't really call no play from man. I don't know, you was scoring tear. This is like you in Maui, you was shooting like 50% from three or something like that, man.
Right.
Like you was just so mentally locked in that I don't even think you actually it's gonna sound crazy. I don't think you knew what you were doing. Like you were just so like you were just hooping,
I
basically.
did. I'm gonna be real. It was really just like I was in a mode where I know. Shout out to my brother Amo. I interviewed Amo in the first interview, Anthony Morrow, man. But we worked so hard, and I spent some time with you that off season too. But we would get like 20 makes, 20 to 30 makes, mids and threes, catch and shoot off the drill. Like, it was just so much that we were doing. So I put in so much work, and I knew that with Thaddeus coming in and with Javaris coming in, that as CY always said, have your blade sharp. So
Right.
I kind of had the mindset that regardless of what situation was gonna happen that following year, I knew that I was gonna be very prepared, man. And I know that I think I did well with that, putting in the work. I really worked hard with Scott on the weights, but yeah, I was in a mode, bro. I was locked in.
Locked in.
Yeah, I was locked in, and but yeah, that can happen for all of us, man. Like kind of like what you're saying. I think, um, with the mindset and obviously putting the work behind the mindset, obviously faith, um, can lead to success on the court, man. I think you have to be okay. I think one thing I can say about you though, Mario, you were okay with not blending in the sense of like you were gonna work hard, you didn't care how it looked, you didn't like, where some of us we want to look cool while we do it, or we want it to be perfect. And I think that's what separated you, man. And I think, kind of transitioning Mario going to the Hawks undrafted, and you got some dope points here in the book. We will kind of hit on the point where when you got out to Salt Lake City. Let's kind of touch on that. We've had our career tech and we moved on, and of course the goal is so well, you know what, let's rewind before we get to Salt Lake. How many workouts did you have for pre-draft?
Zero.
Zero workouts.
Not
Zero
wrong.
workouts for pre-draft.
Yeah.
And for you guys watching, pre-draft is basically like after the season, you have teams, or once you sign with your agent, you're gonna have teams that are gonna, say, hey, we want to have Lewis Clinch or Mario West come in, and we want to work them out, and you're gonna work out against other draft candidates and things like that. So, and sometimes with that too, I noticed because I didn't have a ton of workouts, even though I averaged 16 in the ACC my senior year. I didn't have a ton of workouts coming out. Now it was a lockout year also, but sometimes it's about how resourceful your agent is as well, because there were guys that probably didn't have the resume that I had, but their resource to workouts or getting opportunities were greater than mine. So they got 10 workouts, and didn't, have quite the performance as I did as a collegiate player. But Mario, you had 0 workouts.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts when I know we had goals making it to the league. What are your thoughts when this first comes about?
So for me, I just, again, it's going to be cliche, but it's like, look, I might be delayed, but I won't be denied. So in that sense of not having the workouts, it's like, okay, God is going to open up another opportunity. Like, this is nothing new to me, right? The reason that I keep referencing that quote is because it happened while I was at Georgia Tech, right? I didn't have a scholarship, and there was the delay period where I had to go through the trial and error, but then I ended up earning a scholarship. You know what I mean? So I think oftentimes when we face adversity, we forget the small victories that we encountered before and that we overcame. So then when we come to the next point, it's like, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to get through. Man, you just came through, you know what I'm saying? Something that no one thought you could get through. You know what I'm saying? Even yourself, you questioned and you got through it. And look, now you're here again. So you should be even more confident. So I'm not going to sit here and say it was like, you know what? I knew that the Hawks were going to, sign me and everything like that. The only thing that I knew was like, look, if they give me a shot, I'm going to make the most of it.
Right.
So I would say the one thing that really, really helped me was the slam dunk competition.
Right.
That gave me the exposure that I needed. Sometimes, yeah, and it's one of my quotes. Hopefully I don't mess it up. I'm a big movie guy and I'm big on quotes, right? So in the movie The Hurricane, it says, he who bemoans the lack of opportunity sometimes forget that small doors open up into large rooms. He that forgets that sometimes who bemoans the lack of opportunity forgets that small doors open up into large rooms. So basically meaning that you forget about the opportunity right there itself, but here it is, it may be the small window, but look what this window of opportunity, as small as it may be, what it can open up into. So it was a small chance, a small opportunity for me to win the slam dunk competition. But boom, that gave me the exposure that I needed to try out for the Hawks Summer League team, right? So forget not getting the, workouts and anything like that. Like, I still have an opportunity, that I can control what I do and my effort and my attitude and everything like that. And so I think sometimes, man, that people, things don't happen according to the way that they want, and then they're not prepared. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to pray for something, it's another thing to work hard for something, and then when that opportunity comes, like, you really take full advantage. And that's basically what I did, and that's how I got, invited to the Hawks Summer League.
So now, I'm glad that you mentioned the dunk contest, because we're gonna take a look at it here, Mario. Give me a second to pull it up.
All right.
If you're watching, guys, we're gonna go back to 2007. I was there. I got a picture with Erin Andrews. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Look her up. But she was there. She was actually doing the interviews for for it. I think me, Holiday, Amo,
German,
Jeremy,
Germans, yeah. I appreciate
Jeremy,
you.
Rashawn. Yeah, we all came, and
What did you got?
I think Ishmael. Ish was there with us too. I know he coached you. I know he coached you up. I know you talk about that in the book, guys. We'll get to it in a second. But Defend the Dream, we'll try to get a link up for this book. It's Mario's book. But I know you talked about him coaching you. But let me pull this up. So let me go to share. Yeah, Mario, we're going to just take a look at your. We'll take a look at your dunks. Let me see. Let me mute it so we can make sure we hear us. All right, let me make sure it's on the screen. Okay, yeah, y'all excuse the footage, man. This is a clip from 2007, so you know what I mean. All right, here we go. So we're gonna watch this guy's dunking, and Mario, yours will be up next. So Mario's coming up right here. This is Mario right here. Hey, let's go.
Right.
So, and we'll keep watching this, Mario. So, what was your thoughts, man? How did this feel live on TV, dunk contest? First of all, how did you even get into this? Like, like, how did this come about? And
Man,
we'll keep.
I got a shout out. I don't know if you know Rodney Turner from United Distributors. That was one of the places where I would work during the summertime.
Right.
So he became family. So he's family still to this day, and someone that I call Unc. And so I remember having a conversation with him. And sometimes, man, I think that it's important to make sure who you have, like as mentors and people in your circle, because they can also speak life into you and
For sure.
also be a angel or be someone that has your best interests at heart, man, and really push you forward in ways unimaginable. And I say that to say that I remember having a conversation with him just like it was yesterday. He just brought something to my attention. He's like, man, why don't you try to get in a slam dunk competition? I was like, man, I ain't gonna let me. I was like, man, how am I gonna get in that? Like, I was like, I think it would be dope because it was at Georgia State. And I was like, you know what, man, I would love to showcase, you know what I'm saying, some things that I feel like a lot of people don't know that I could do.
Right.
He told me, he was like, look, what you should do, you should hang up the phone right now, call Coach Hewitt and see if he can make some phone calls.
Right.
I did exactly that. And I was like, man, I ain't gonna be able to get in there. But I was like, you know what, man? All right, I'm gonna do it. I literally hung up the phone, called Coach Hewitt. Coach Hewitt made a couple of phone calls. Within 30 minutes, he said, okay, Mario, you in the slam dunk competition. I was like, what? Are you serious?
Wow.
And so that's basically how it happened. And then, from there, I was like, okay, it's cool to get in, but look, I got to make sure that I represent. So I had to call the best dunker that I know, my big brother, Ishmael Muhammad,
Ishmael Muhammad.
to DUB, the Dub. So I had to, reach out to him, man, and he helped me put together a amazing routine and really showed me things that I didn't know I could do, man. Because dunking is one thing to be able to jump, but you got to also have like the right timing,
Coordination. Yeah.
stuff like that, man. And Ishmael is left-handed, but he could jump off one, he could jump off two, he could jump right. So I knew if anyone that could help me and make sure that I was prepared, it would be him. So I got to give him his flowers, man, for helping me with that.
Yeah, and guys, just kind of as a sidebar, here on page 141 of Mario's book, this is Play 15, Cast Your Stone, and he kind of breaks down the dunk contest in the book where, he goes through each dunk. He kind of talks about, working with some of the people that he's mentioned, Ishmael Muhammad, where he talks about here round one where he did the windmill, and I think we are. Let me see what round did we just see. I think that was round two that we started with this dunk where it was a reverse windmill here, and here in the first round we have jotted that he. Let me see 1, 2. He was in fourth place in the first round. Had some great dunkers. I don't know if you guys remember Brent Pentway, but he was a very great athlete. I thought that was going to be his toughest challenger, but let's jump back. We'll jump back into the competition, Mario, and then we'll show a few of their finishes, and then we'll kind of get to yours, and we'll jump back into the interview.
Okay.
All right. So it's Brett Pentway. He threw it off and kind of tried to do too much with it. He still made it.
Well, he goes and he hammered one home, Sam, but you hear maybe the air going out of Air Georgia.
he had the most ability. He was
Yeah,
the
I
best
thought
dunker.
he. I thought that was your toughest competitor. Here's his. Let me see. Off the shot board, shot clock. Yeah, that was nice.
And then it was a guy by the name of what was his parent? He was from Chicago State. Little guy,
Uh-huh.
had bounce. Woo!
Uh,
He had some bounce too as well.
that was kind of nice. Okay, Rio.
Yep.
Okay, so you missed, Rio. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Like after that miss, we'll jump back into it.
Pissed. I'm so mad that I missed this dunk because
Right.
I felt like this was honestly, I was going kind of back and forth, like, okay, do I save this dunk, you know what I'm saying, and keep in my bag for the last dunk? But I was like, you know what? The order of the dunks, you know what I'm saying, we had, down to a T. So this was going to get me into the finals. And I felt like, man, I missed it. So I was like, look, I can't miss this window of opportunity.
Right.
So I was so just like upset with myself that I missed it. And I couldn't believe I missed it. So at this point, I'm scrambling, trying to make sure that I get something because I was just for sure like no one is playing this dunk. Throw it up, catch it 360.
Right. So now I see right here too. Now if you guys see on the shot clock, he got 15 seconds. So let's see what he does with his 15 seconds. So we got it. Throw it up. Hey, okay. Got a little hang time with it. And that's the key to dunk contest, Mario. I mean, you know better than me, but wouldn't you say you got to get a mate, right? With it, regardless, you at least got to get a mate.
And you wanted to do so. This is the guy I was telling you about, man. So I looked up because he missed dunks, but he could have easily won it too as well. I thought
because he looked short.
Yeah, he's only like 5'10", maybe 5'9". Unbelievable bounce. But I was fortunate enough that he missed his dunks. But yeah, the key is to make it the first time.
Okay. Between.
So
you missed it. Second one. Let's go.
Let's go. Here we go.
Hey, and we got the flex. Hey. So now, dunk contest advice. Dunk contest advice.
I would say,
Does
man,
the flex? I need the flex because they might give me some, like, he got the energy with it. Missed the first one, second when he come and finish it. Do you got to get that extra?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You have to. So I would say that when you see the things that I did, the antics after I done, that wasn't planned. I didn't practice that. You can't practice that.
Right.
That's me being authentic. If you know me, you know I'm passionate, and you know I ain't no telling what I'm liable to do. So I would say for the other guys in the dunk contest, they made some great dunks, but it was boring because it's like they were too cool. You know what I'm saying? Like some guys were like afraid to miss, and then some guys were just boring. Like the dunk contest is entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So it's a contest. So not only are you trying to provide the best dunk, entertain the crowd and also the judges, but you're also trying to entertain others as well. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, that's just my natural personality, coming out, me flexing and, doing those things. And that
doing your thing.
I'm very passionate. So, yeah.
So he blew it right here, right? What did he try to do?
Man,
he didn't. But see, it looked like he tried to go arm in the rim. No, look at Mario. You knew, so you knew right there was it. Right?
So what happened, and this is just my interpretation of what happened. So the dunk that he attempted to do, he tried to throw it up. What did he try to do? I think he tried to throw it off the shot clock and put it between the legs.
Wow.
It was going to be incredible.
Right.
But what happened is that I went first. So when I pulled off that dunk, it kind of put him on his heels. So he's like, oh man, I didn't know he could do that. So look, how do I trump that? You know what I mean? Right. So it kind of put like something that he wasn't prepared to do. So I think he was scrambling. I don't think he was prepared for me to do the dunk that I did and to have success and make it. And then he had to figure out at the same time like what he was going to do afterwards. I don't think he was like because he had it in the bag, man. I mean, no one could out jump him or anything like that. I think my level of focus and then being prepared, those two things combined got me through to win the contest. And that was fortunate enough, man. That was divine intervention, man. God had a plan.
So Now, you know me. I mean, I loved my athleticism, but shooting was like, really my specialty, right? And
Yeah.
so your athletic ability got you some keys to a door. Now let's talk about you getting into the door. The Hawks give you an opportunity. Kind of, and in the book you talked about being there in summer league and even the NBA, your head coach actually coming down to summer league and checking out some of the games. What was that like to go from? And you also too. Let me reference you again in the book. You also mentioned um that the guys now and now guys and talking about Mario. Mario is a great athlete. Was all 6'4", strong, always in between 210 and 220, but all muscle and can move like he's 190. Now you're saying in the book that these guys were bigger, stronger, and faster. What's that like to go from great college athletes to pros who are like even faster than what you just seen?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start back and how I got on to make the summer league team because it wasn't a given, and just how amazing uh, God is, and how He really shows you like His power. You know what I'm saying? Like over and over, like I've witnessed His power, but I've witnessed His power like none other. You know what I'm saying during this time and at that time. And I say that to say
Right,
so. Summer league to make the summer league team, it was 3 days, and then it was maybe like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday. No, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday they flying out. Taking the team out to Salt Lake City. So they just
right,
drafted Al Horford. Shout out to my brother Al Horford, teammates, still good friends to this day. AC
right.
Law, my right hand man, still friends to this day. They had drafted those two guys, and they're already on the summer league team. And so we're having tryouts. So the first day, I did exceptionally well,
Mm,
like really, really good. And I knew I was turning heads, and I felt good about it. The second day,
mm.
I put too much pressure on myself, and I didn't perform the way that I did Monday. It was almost like night and day. And I got to give a shout out to Earl Calloway, who played at Indiana, played overseas, and everything like that. Quick guard. And I remember picking up him like full court, and we doing
Mm.
like a one-on-one drill, and he was just literally just blowing by me. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and getting layups. It's like I was just out of position. I was just like flustered. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And then they were making cuts each day. So when I say they was making cuts each day, like you would after practice, you would go into the locker room and you had your own locker. And then if you had like a pink slip or something like that, that let you know that you had been cut, and they'll have a conversation or anything like that. For some
So wait,
reason,
they leave it in your locker and you have to like kind of get it in front of everybody?
well, yeah, it's kind of like stuck in like you're like in between like the doors and stuff like that. Or they may just, I'm saying, hey, kind of like pull you to the side or something like that, and just
Right.
kind of let you know. So the pink note would be like, hey, come to see coach after practice or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
he'll give the conversation, say, hey, thank you for trying out. Just unfortunately, you didn't make the team and this and that. So I remember after Tuesday, I don't even think I showered at the arena. I went
Right.
straight back to the hotel to shower. I turned off my phone. When I say I got down on my knees and just
Right.
prayed and just said, "Hey God, tomorrow's the last day," and not knowing that honestly I should have been cut like that day. So I go back out there Wednesday, and when I say I balled out and played, mind you, AC Law, Al Horford are there, their draft picks. Guess who else was there?
Who's that?
None other than, and he wanted revenge. Brent Pitway was there out for the Hawks Summer League team as well.
Right.
I remember two things that stood out. So I remember, getting in a similar situation where Earl Calloway, like I said, the previous day, he was blowing by me. But now,
Right.
I'm standing my ground. I'm standing between him and the basket. He's not getting by me. One
Right.
thing that sticks out during the day as we did like a scrimmage, what I'm saying? At the end, we always do a scrimmage. And I remember Brent, I don't know why he did this. Brent Pitway on a breakaway goes up, and instead of just dunking it, he leaves room. He goes to lay it up, and he leaves room for me to come in, and I pin it against the glass. Like literally, like almost like how LeBron did Iggy. You know what I'm saying?
Iguodala.
But not only do I pin it, I
Uh-huh.
grab the ball, push the ball all the way down on a fast break,
Right.
and make a bounce pass layup. You know what I'm saying? And I made multiple plays like that. You know what I'm saying? Like multiple back-to-back
So
plays.
so from one end to the other, you'll get a stop, and
Gotta
then you
stop,
could right.
assist. And so I remember that afterwards, Coach Fizdale, shout out Coach Fizdale, who's the head coach for Memphis and then also for New York, who's now an assistant for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Right.
I remember him pulling me to the side and said, "Hey, honestly, man, we had cut you." He said, "Look, I think he said something to the nation. He said, honestly, we had cut you yesterday." He said, "I'm not sure what happened, but when you got here or whatever, we just decided, okay, look, you here. We're not gonna cut you right before because you already dressed in uniform." But he said, "Look, you actually were cut yesterday." He said, "Look, you were by far, verbatim, you were by far the best player out here today. And for that reason, we're taking you to Salt Lake City. You made the summer league team. Go pack your bag and get ready for the plane."
Are you serious?
Oh, I was like in tears because at the time they only wanted to carry maybe I think 13 or 14 guys. And summer league rosters, I mean, for guys trying out, it's like 20 people on the team. You know what I'm saying? They trimming it down every single day. So they may have cut like the first day they may have cut like 3 people. Then they cut down 4 people.
So Rio, let me ask you this. This is insane, bro. So you mean to tell me you're a few plays away from not making the team?
From not
So
making
if you don't make this rundown block, go down and make the play on the other end and pick up full court, and do that consistently, you don't make the team?
I don't make it, and I wasn't even supposed to be there. They actually cut me. They actually were supposed to cut me and notify me the previous day, like on that Tuesday, and let me know that that you didn't make the team.
Side note. Hey, listen, look, because I'm into this whole writing and all this stuff now. Look, hey man, we need to make this a movie script.
For sure, man. That is honestly.
No, I'm being dead serious. Listen, look.
Damn.
So Mario, you made it to the league, and let we're at an hour. I don't want to keep you too long, man. I appreciate you guys watching who stayed live, but man. So Mario, you in the league, bro. What are because you got a lot of memorable moments along the way, but give me probably 2 of your most memorable moments in the league. Like what, because I know you got to play with Joe Johnson, which is one of my favorite players also.
ISO Joe.
You've guarded Kobe. You've made plays, man. Like you got some experience with Boston. What are 2 of your most memorable moments that you can just like off the top of your head, like, oh man, this is like I'm in the league, or this is like I'm gonna remember this forever. I'm gonna tell my grandkids about this.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna start with the one that I'm most noted or most known for all the viewers out there, the Shannon Brown block.
Oh man,
let's start with that one first, man.
Well, Mario, see, you my brother. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but since you bring it up, we'll try to pull it up.
Hey,
go ahead, keep talk to me. I want to pull it up.
Yeah. So the whole Shannon Brown block, man. So let's start by this, right? We're playing in LA, the Staples Center, right? So for me, it's like, man, I can't believe what I'm witnessing right now. Looking up at the banners, the championships, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a place that I've seen on TV and only dreamed about.
Right.
Sitting courtside, Denzel Washington, Cameron Diaz, Jack Nicholson, and then what's the guy that wears the hat? He's there. The older
white guy. The fashion dude.
The fact, man, he's there every single way. So I see all these stars, and I'm literally starstruck. And this is doing warm-ups.
Right.
So mind you, I didn't play a lot. You know what I'm saying? Didn't know if I was going to get to play or whatever and so forth. But I always stayed ready. We had just made the trade and got Mike Bibby.
Oh, okay.
So only played, I think, maybe 1 game with Mike Bibby. And at the time, you want to go ahead and play it?
Nah, go ahead. I'll wait till you finish the story.
The team hasn't even gelled together. So at halftime, we were losing by, I think, like 30 points. Like we were getting blown out at halftime. So here it is in the fourth quarter, the last 4 minutes, and now we're losing by still almost by 30. It's between like 25 and 30 points in the last 5 minutes of the game. So coach clears the bench. He's taking out all the starters because we're on this West Coast road trip. He understands, like, look, man, we just got to make it on. Like, this game is over. Look, let's just get on to the next game. Let's start focusing on the next game. So mind you, I hadn't played a single minute. And so the game is literally over. But for me, it's like, no, man, the game ain't over. You know
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's time for me to play. So this play, so the only proud moment about, you know what I'm saying, this whole, 5 minutes or whatever that I kind of like get to brag on myself about is because it's productivity. In 5 minutes, and they can look up these stats. In 5 minutes, I had 7 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 steals, all in 5 minutes. I don't know a lot of people that can be that active after sitting for 43 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And just come in the game. And so what you see right here is me playing
So
hard,
seven
shooting,
points,
huh?
7 points, 4 rebounds, and what else?
It was 5 rebounds and like 4 steals, 7 points, 5
Wow.
rebounds, 4 steals, all in 5 minutes. So what you see during this play is me playing hard. Everyone else is kind of like they just want to get through the game. You know what I'm saying? No fouls, just let the clock run down. Everyone else is is ready to get the game over with. So you see me run through, and I'm not even loose. Like when
Right.
my body is not like warm enough for me to actually dunk. So you see me run. Look, watch how I shoot the gap, and I don't even have control over.
Right.
Now let me also say this to Shannon Brown's credit. I got to give him flowers. And
Right.
phenomenal athlete, and there was no foul. You know what I'm saying? Like
no, yeah. When you look at, let's see it right here. I got a close up right here.
look at you talking about the guy.
Nah, but you know what it is though too. He did put his left hand on your arm, so you really couldn't elevate all the way off the ground. So, but I get what you're saying though. Like it could have been, he could have went either way. Yeah.
But here's the irony in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it really ties into defend the dream. When
Right.
you're defending your dream, if you're unprepared and if you're unaware of the obstacles that could potentially hinder you or just hurt you altogether, you're going to get knocked down. Right. And you can get knocked down.
Uh-huh.
Two, there's also going to be someone else that wants what you have or what you're trying to accomplish. So in the literal sense of when you see me with the ball, Shannon Brown's like, no, man, that's my ball. He's defending his dream. Right. There's other people coming for you. You know what I'm saying? And then the other part too is that when you get knocked down, because you're chasing your dream, you're going to have, because you see some of my teammates laughing and stuff too as well, because I get it. You just got to be able to deal with it and understand that people will maybe laugh at you, you know what I'm saying, for trying to pursue your dream. But you have two choices. As you see when you played that clip, I could have stayed down on the ground, act like, you know what I'm saying, hey, feel sorry for myself, or I can get up at the free throw line and go knock down my free throws. And then you know what, Lou? I was right back at it. After that next, okay, look, you went and got that. Look, I'm right back at you. You know what I mean? Right. So that's just life, and that's just a great teaching point that I always look. So that's one point. And then the other point would definitely be when I had the opportunity to guard Kobe. Rest in peace, man. That's one of my idols, one of my favorite players. Again, I didn't know that I was going to play. We actually won the game. I had 4 points that game off the bench. Nice buckets too as well. And even though Kobe scored on me, and you can
wait, that was at home, right? That was at home.
At home.
We went to that game. I was at that game. Yeah.
I had all my family at that game, man. My grandparents, only seen me play one time in the NBA, like live in person. Right. They actually came up and I got them tickets. I bought like 33 tickets for the game. I had like my whole family come to the game, and I actually played against arguably one of the greatest players ever to play the game. And yeah, man, that's a special moment. Those two stick out the most for sure.
Right, and obviously both versus LA. Yeah, I remember being at that game, man, and being very excited for you. Obviously, Kobe was my favorite player, so being able to witness a good friend like yourself, kind of go against the GOAT, that was dope, man. So Mario, talk about. Wait 1 second, Mario. Let me grab my charger. Okay, Mario. So we got NBA experience, man. Tell the people about Defend the Dream. Give me what inspired. I mean, obviously your life needs to be a freaking movie anyway, but talk about how and that's what it's about. You see the name of the show is Creative Athlete, but I want athletes tapping into creativity while they have their spotlight. So while we're these popular athletes and we get into clubs free and people want us to be a part of stuff because of our names, how do we build a brand and build representation of our creativity? Is that important for an athlete to do?
No, absolutely. That goes without. And you want to So you have what I call a small window of where you should maximize your brand and your name and
Right.
monetize that. You know what I'm saying?
For
And so
sure.
for me, Defend the Dream actually should have came out you know what I'm saying? In terms of like sales and exposure, like I felt like I could have done so much more when I was actually playing because I had that resource, you know what I'm saying? Everything like that. But nonetheless, it still came out. And
Right.
how Defend the Dream came about is that I was over in Argentina playing. So I'm transitioning. I'm 31 at the time. And when I tell you, Lou, that I was playing exceptionally well and I was jumping like 2007, you know what I'm saying? Like I was dunking, I was strong, I was doing everything. And I knew I was transitioning. And so it's also to my point, also why you want to plan ahead. You know,
Right.
you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify and from terms of like investments and different things that you have, you also want to have a backup plan.
Right.
Because I was like, my mindset at 31 is like, look, I'm playing very well, my body feels good. I'm going to get this bag. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go on this run. I'm gonna get this bag. And for the next 4 or 5 years, so around 35, 36, okay, I'll hang it up then. But God had other plans. I tear my Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
So when I tore my Achilles, mind you, earlier in our conversation that I mentioned that anytime that we face adversity, we often be like, oh man, what I'm gonna do? We get, really depressed, we get down on ourselves, and we forget the small victories that we already had before and how we overcame that. Because at the time, those small victories, they seemed like the biggest thing that we were going through at that time. And then once we got through them and then on to the next, it's like, well, man, oh man, this is the worst thing that ever, I don't know how I'm gonna get through. But no, you just came through something. So at that time, when I tear my Achilles, I think most people will be like, oh man, God, why this? Like, why this happened to me and such and such. I didn't ask that question. I said, okay, God, what do you want me to do now? At that moment, while my leg is elevated, I'm sitting up in my bed. God spoke to me and said, you know what? It's time. And I already knew what he meant. He said, it's time. Oftentimes we have these ideas, great ideas from businesses, from other interests and things that we have, but we put it off because we say, you know what? When I have the right amount of money in my bank account, when I have X, Y, and Z, when every I is dotted, every T is crossed, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. No, the time is now. And so God like really, really set me down and said, you know what, man, it's time. You've been putting off this for so long. And so that's when I wanted to go through and work on putting the book together. I got to give a shout out to my co-author, someone that I went to school with, Shekinah Bolden. She helped me put the book together and my ideas and everything like that. Got to shout out to her. And I think for me, just to sum it up, man, what the book is about and why I wanted to do the book, man, because I've done some amazing things, right? I've ran my race, and so now I want to hand that baton off to the next person and watch them run their race and encourage them, because I think that's really what life is about. It's about serving others, and this is a way that I felt like I wanted to serve others by everything that I've been through, and things that I've accomplished. Like God didn't give me the gift of basketball just for me to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to use that as a means for me to connect with other people to ultimately bring more people to him. You know what I'm saying? When the Bible talks about fisher of men and everything like that. And so that's just what I'm a firm believer of. And that's what I just try to, live my life by. And that's what Defend the Dream is. And that's why I'm constantly reminding, defend it, protect it, defend it, go get it. It's yours. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. And then I'm gonna show them too, Mario. Along with the book, guys, Mario also has his brand that he rocks as well. This is one of his orange hoodies. I have a blue one with the orange letters. Me and my son Bryce. But Mario, where can we get the book and where can we get gear from you for Defend the Dream?
Absolutely. So go to mariowest.com. mariowest.com to order the book. Also, I want to say I have a nonprofit too as well. Anyone that's a philanthropist or anyone that wants to be active in the community and looking for a tax deductible receipt or just to get involved, go to Mario West Foundation Inc.com. I also have a nonprofit doing a lot of benevolence assistance to those in need, and then I give out scholarships to my high school, of which they have to read my book and then answer the questions in my work about what it means for them to defend the dream. And as far as the merch, I'm still trying to grow my audience. So you can find me
Right.
on Instagram at Mario West 6. And so just shoot me a DM and just let me know, if you want a t-shirt, a hoodie, and you can look through my page and see some of the different things that I have. And we can also, get things made for you. So again, MarioWest.com for the book. Appreciate
Right.
all the support. I appreciate, Lou, you giving me this opportunity, man, to join on this platform, man. Amazing the things that you're doing, and you're giving athletes sound advice, and you're giving them opportunity to speak about their challenges and also how they can empower others, man. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Definitely, man. Hey, well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, Mario. And one last question that I try to, you know, I ask a few of my, especially my hoopers, top 5 NBA players, past or current, man. Last question. Who would you say? And when I say top 5, like, so Amo, he did his where he did his top 5 kind of like from the era of like Jordan and all, and then like this kind of era where we got Lillard, the guys who have kind of transformed the game with the shooting, Luca, and coincidentally, LeBron was in both of his top 5s. So real quick, who would you like your top 5, I guess, from the 90s era or early 2000s kind of back, and then from the 2000s to the current, what would be your top 5? And it could be it ain't necessarily got to be performance, just your top 5 favorite players.
Okay. So Michael Jordan, no question.
Jordan.
Allen Iverson,
Right.
Shaq, Magic Johnson, and I will do. You go either Isaiah Thomas or Larry Bird. You know what I mean for that era.
Right. Okay.
Then moving forward, Kobe, LeBron,
Right.
Durant.
Uh-huh.
Need 2 more: Kobe, LeBron, Durant, Steph Curry. For the way he's revolutionized the game and things of that nature. And then one more player. I'm trying. Oh, Giannis.
Giannis. Okay. Greek freak.
You
Greek
know,
freak.
yeah. But the thing about the top 5, it's just like there's so many. You got Dame. You got James Harden. You got Kyrie. You got so many players.
Right.
It's off the charts, man. But just to come to my mind, just spitballing that, man. Those 5 right there.
Those are your 5. And oh yeah, one last, I totally forgot to ask. Is it okay if you talk about your position now that you have with the NBA? What are you doing, and what's your role now with the NBA?
Yeah. So right now I serve as the director of off the court for the NBPA. Off the court is essentially a transition program. We have a number of resources internally that are available and accessible to the players that are transitioning out of the league or recently retired. And so my job is to make sure the guys are aware of these resources, that they know how to assess these resources, and also to know what their portfolio is. So for a guy that's recently retired or thinking about retiring, I try to be proactive and
Right.
basically intentional. And hey, I know that you're still playing, or hey, I know you just recently retired, but hey, did you know that you have X, Y, and Z, available to you? What are some of your passions and interests? Well, hey, if you say, okay, I want to get into coaching or broadcasting, hey,
Right.
we have some programs that are free for you
Wow.
to take advantage of to see what you like. You know what I'm saying? And so that's basically what I do, man, because I struggle trying to figure out my next
The
move.
transition, and that's what this is about, man. So like you talking about you having a role with the NBA, and like we're talking to guys who may make it overseas and then need to transition into what we call the real world of not necessarily having that basketball income. And I think even hearing you say that as an NBA player who had some success, played overseas, and obviously had some success, made some money, but for us is like this is what we know, so the transition can be difficult. And I think you even hear you say that as a reflection that I hope athletes can use this platform and be inspired that there are other things that we can do, and there are other things that we're great at. And obviously being creative is another way that we can unlock some of these paths, man. So how soon can an NBA player pursue these, or even if they're not ready to transition, what if they're just interested in trying to tap into these resources, would they still be able to speak with you about that?
Yeah, so you have to have a minimum of 3 years in the league, and then you can't be retired no more than 5 years from when you last played your last professional game, whether that was overseas or G League or wherever. So
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, you have some guys that's been out, like 7 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or some guys that only maybe got like a year and a half
Mhm.
in the league, and they're still playing, but unfortunately they don't qualify. But I still try to find, ways, because it still may be where they still have a 401k, or they have some type of benefits. Everyone is different. Like it kind of differs on the amount of games and stuff like that. So someone may have signed
Right.
and got drafted, and it says on their profile 2011 to 2014, but they maybe only been on the roster for like really like one season or a certain amount of games. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of varies. But hey, send them anybody my way, man. Anyone that has any questions, man, you can, like I said, reach out to me via Instagram, send me a DM or whatever, and be more than happy to help, man. I'm passionate about serving. And for all the guys that are playing overseas, anyone listening to this or anyone that knows someone overseas, my advice will be right now, as we speak, make sure that you tap into the network that you have. And for a lot of guys, they may not realize the type of network that they have, but it's also important to create one. You know what I mean? And when I say create one, think about all the coaches that you play for, not only just head coaches, but assistant coaches. Think about the grad assistants who now are assistant coaches. You know what I'm saying? The video coordinators. Think about the people that they know. You know what I'm saying? Because if they can vouch for your character, then they can introduce you to other people as well. Think about the overseas coaches and organizations and teams that you play for. These are the people that you need to stay in constant communication with, just checking in. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that you build upon their relationship. Because I'm going to tell you like this, when they're bought, two things: either you leave the game or the game leaves you. So you leave the game on your own terms, or you get injured, you know what I'm saying? Or just the style of play changes and you don't get any more phone calls. And for me, the game, two things: the game left me, basically. I tore my Achilles. I just wasn't the same player. And people don't pick up their phone like you would expect. You know what I'm saying? People that you've been knowing for years. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you tap into that network. And last thing I would say, man, the skill set, the things that you learn from playing the game of basketball, you have so many things that are transferable, but you just guys don't know that. And you just guys maybe just need some assistance tapping into it. And it's okay for you not to know exactly what you want to do right now. The thing would be to try everything. You know what I'm saying? Try to do broadcasting, try to do scouting, try to get a certification in a specific trade or something like that. During your off season, yes, you guys work out and stuff like that, but that's when you need to really be tapping. Yeah, we're going to see people. You know what I'm saying?
We got to talk, Mario. We'll see, can we form something even for collegiate guys, high school guys? Like high school guys are getting NIL deals. I didn't get to ask you that question, and I'm gonna have you on again because I want to talk to you specifically about some of your overseas experience, but we'll do that in a separate interview. But I don't know. I just think that we can help guys, man. We can inspire guys to, figure out how to use their audience. Some of these kids are going to school with 15,000 followers, and the followers don't mean anything if we're not able to monetize it.
Right.
Now that they are, we need to kind of wake up some of these, ways to produce income, because Defend the Dream can make money while you're here. Whenever God calls you home, this could be making money. Your brand could continue to make money for anybody out there. So just you heard it here, man, from a veteran, from a philanthropist now, from an entrepreneur. So be inspired, man, as an athlete. Be great and be dominant in your sport. And I know you hear people talk about not having a plan B, and I agree, but your plan A should be so big, right? With my athletics, or with my brand that I'm creating, or with my book that I'm writing. Shout out to Cam Host, he just dropped the book also, Georgia Tech alumni as well. So yeah, man, I hope this helps, man. I'm definitely gonna have Mario back on. You guys do me a favor, follow Mario West on IG, Mario West 6. Hey, at the top of the screen, you see The Creative Athlete on Facebook, on YouTube, on IG. I haven't posted much on my IG, but definitely follow my YouTube, guys. Follow my Facebook page, and remember, if you're watching this interview, next time, if you actually comment on the live interview on the Creative Athlete Facebook, or if you're on my YouTube, if you comment, I'll be able to see the comments and I'll be able to add them if you want to ask any of my people that I have on questions live. All right, man. All right, so like I said, I hope this helped. Mario, thank you again. I'll definitely want to have you on again, brother. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate
Salute,
you, King.
brother.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
man. Have a good one.
All right.